Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. It has been a long time since I have filmed a video and I am feeling like I kind of have my energy back. So I thought I would turn the camera on today because I have a little bit of processing that I have to get done. I've kind of spent the morning in my garden. What time is it? It's already noon. I have spent the morning out in my garden doing a whole bunch of weeding. I had a whole bunch of logs kind of surrounding my garden outside, and our weed whacker is broken, so I haven't been able to actually get out there and get the weeds trimmed. And I found that the logs are actually kind of making it worse. So I spent the morning removing all of the logs from the perimeter of my garden and getting in with this like hoe that I have. It's like a push hoe. It's an antique that I picked up from an estate sale years ago and I love it. It's just amazing for making a perimeter around your garden. So I spent the morning out there doing that, and then one thing that I did while this is what happens. I kind of squirreled a little bit today because I have my energy back. I'm really just taking advantage of it. And I went outside today to pick basil. So this is all the basil that we picked. I try to stay on top of picking my basil because it will grow more. The more I pick it, the more it will grow. So went outside to do that and then ended up getting totally sidetracked doing this weeding thing. So now it's noon. I've come inside because it is so hot outside. Like, I can't even describe to you the heat we're getting. One day last week, we got up with the heat index, we got up to 121. That is like, you can't even breathe outside, so hot. But we actually had a couple of rainstorms come in and it really cooled everything down. So I think today is like at like low 90s, which for us is kind of refreshing, but it's still a little hot for me to be out there at noon. So with the thunderstorms that we got, we went through this like huge drought where we had one full month of absolutely no rain. And then all of a sudden in 12 hours, we got 6 inches of rain. I said, can we not just have like a happy medium? Just give us a couple days here or there with a nice little sprinkle instead of giving it to us a month's worth of rain in one day. But whatever, the plants are happy, we got rain. But what happened though is with those storms, a lot of my tomato plants actually ended up snapping. So what I did is I took some of them, put them in water, and I don't know if you can see all those little roots in there. Here, let me take one out and show you. See all those roots? So I have a couple of them here, and then I have some over here in my windowsill. They haven't started to root yet, so I'm just gonna give them a couple more days. But once they get roots established, I'm gonna go out and plant them where I just pulled all of my onions out of, because I will get a nice late season harvest of tomatoes with these. Because our frost date is typically at the very end of October, I will be able to most likely get a harvest off of these tomato plants. I have no idea what variety they are. I just kind of brought them in, put them in water. I cannot let a broken tomato plant just be broken and me compost it. I have to try to save it. So those are gonna go in the ground this afternoon. And then I also have a packet of lima beans. These are only a 65-day variety. So again, I will be able to get a harvest at the end of the season with those. So I'm gonna get those planted this afternoon. I have my dehydrator buzzing. I just got some jerky done. We are going to be processing our meat chickens at the end of July, beginning of August. So I'm trying to kind of clean my freezer out. So I'm making some jerky. I think I may have done a video showing you guys how I make that jerky. If not, I'm gonna probably be doing another batch really soon and I will film it for you. That's kind of just an update on what's going on. It's been a while, I know, since I put a video out for you guys, and I did promise once I got my energy back that I would try to get at least one video out a week. So that's gonna kind of be my goal right now. So I'm going to show you guys how I process my excess amount of basil. I love making pesto. That is definitely my go-to. I make it, put it in a Ziploc baggie, and then throw it in the freezer. And then I have fresh, or not fresh, but I have beautiful pesto that lasts me for the whole year. But one other thing I do, let me just grab one. One other thing that I like to do with my basil is make these basil cubes. So all it is just basil and oil, and I just put them in ice cube trays, and then I freeze them, pop them out, and then I can use them. This makes like almost a perfect light sauce to go with like ravioli or pasta. I add a little bit of butter, salt, some Parmesan cheese with it, and it's amazing. We actually had some raviolis with this stuff, and this is all I have left. Last year, I did not preserve any of my basil, so this year I'm really making an effort to make sure I'm staying on top of it. So we're gonna get that project done, and then the other thing I need to do is I'm gonna bring some of this basil outside and put it in my drying racks. I will show you my drying rack that I bought. I bought it online. I think I got it on Amazon, and I can leave it linked for you guys below, but it is amazing. I put it in my greenhouse, and it is like 100 billion degrees out there right now because I don't have a shade cloth on it. So the herbs dry within honestly like 1 to 2 days, and it doesn't take any of my indoor space up, which is amazing, because now that garden season's kind of starting to produce stuff, I am going to be running out of table space, because what happens is I just get these tables in here and they get full. Oh, I need to show you guys something. Me and Steven went out yesterday and we harvested a little amount of potatoes, but some of them, look at it, some of them are really good size. And some of them are little babies. And I used up a whole bunch last night. I'm gonna get out of here because that dehydrator is pretty loud. Those are our Yukon Gold variety, and they're the only ones that actually survived the flood that we had in May, because I planted them in my side garden. Sorry, I thought I just seen a bug over there. Yesterday when we were harvesting all of the potatoes, we found a mouse nest, and 3 mice jumped up when I had my hand in the dirt pulling potatoes out. And I can handle insects, I can handle spiders, I can handle snakes. I can't handle mice. I cannot. Like, I screamed bloody murder because they just kept jumping out. I can't do mice. It was so horrible. Anyways, we harvested the small amount of potatoes that actually survived. In my back garden, I had 3 huge rows of them, but unfortunately all of the potatoes rotted in the ground, so we got nothing out of that. I am so excited that we got that small amount of harvest of Yukon Golds, because we had them yesterday. I made a shrimp broil last night for supper, some shrimp, some sausage, fresh corn on the cob, with freshly picked potatoes, and I cannot even describe to you what those potatoes tasted like. It was like pure butter. It was so delicious. So after Steven tried them too, he said next year we need to try to get our potato harvest to actually produce, because they're just delicious. And potatoes are expensive right now, especially if you're buying organic potatoes, so expensive. But anyways, we harvested a little bit of them, so that's what is drying right there. You have to cure them. Same way you have to cure onions and you have to cure garlic, you have to cure potatoes to make sure that that outside gets nice and kind of crispy. Not really crispy, but it hardens up so that they can store for a while. But those potatoes, to be honest with you, they're not gonna last a while because they are so delicious. Like, I told Steven, I am gonna try not to have potatoes every single night this week, but honestly, I probably will because they taste so good. But anyways, I'm just talking. But I guess because I haven't talked to you guys in so long, I just kind of want to catch you up with everything going on. But I do need to get this basil preserved because I have since washed it and I don't want it to start to wilt. So let's get this started, and then I'm going to go out and show you how we're going to dry our basil. I'm using a couple of different varieties. This variety right here is a lettuce leaf or mammoth leaf basil. Huge leaves. I love these. These taste very mild for a basil. They're not overly strong. I'm also using a dark opal basil, and I think in here somewhere as well I have like a sweet basil, like Genovese basil. And guys, don't mind my dirty fingernails and hands. They are clean. I promise. I literally scrubbed them. It's because I was outside pulling tomatoes. My hands get stained with that tomato tar, so can't get them clean. They're gonna look like this for the rest of the summer. So I take my basil, just rip it off the stem because I don't want the stems in here. The stems are a little tough. The other thing too is if any of them are flowering, I don't know if you can see it or not, but see how it's starting to flower a little bit? I leave those because they're a little bit too strong of a taste. Just give them to the chickens. And I look for any basil leaves that are kind of beat up a little bit more, and then just either compost them or give them to the chickens. Some of these leaves are a little bit rough looking because they were on the ground, and with the rain, they kind of got a little bit pelted, beat up. So then I take it and I just kind of julienne it. I think that's the word for this type of slice. Just make thin strips with the basil. I roll it up. And then just kind of go through it once more. I don't want huge pieces of it. Oh, it smells like heaven. And then I take my ice cube tray. If you can get a silicone ice cube tray, that works best because you can pop them out more. Because I'm using this plastic one, what I actually have to do is just run it under warm water for a little bit, and then the ice cubes just pop out of it. But silicone, definitely easier because you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. I just picked these up at the dollar store. These are what I use to make my oil cubes with. I don't make ice in them because they kind of do smell like basil a little bit. So if you can get a silicone one, it would work a lot better than these plastic. But if you are on a budget like me, Dollar Tree for $1. Well, now $1.25 because it's a $1.25 tree. So longer the Dollar Tree. Okay, so once we have them sliced up, we're just gonna take them. I like to put a good amount in each ice cube tray because I really wanna get that basil flavor. So we'll get more chopped up here. And again, I'm just taking them off the stems. Look at the size of this one. Huge. These ones are really good to use as like a sandwich wrap. Super delicious because they're a mild tasting basil. This one's kind of got bug bites on it. Because I have so much basil right now, and I just actually replanted a whole bunch more. I'm not being too conservative with my basil because I have so much of it. And I'll just turn them into eggs. Chickens will appreciate it. And I just keep going. Okay, I will come back once I get all of this ice cube tray filled up, and we'll move on to the next step. So we have them all chopped up and we have the ice cube trays filled. So now you just add oil of your choice. I'm gonna use avocado oil. I can't believe how expensive olive oil has gotten. This I get from Sam's Club and I pay $10 for it. So I'm gonna use this bottle. Woo! This bottle is almost gone, so I just got a new bottle out. But yeah, I can't believe how expensive olive oil has gotten. Usually I use olive oil to make this because this used to be the more expensive oil, but yeah, not anymore. So we're gonna use some avocado oil in these. You're just gonna fill up the trays until the oil comes to the top of the tray. Try not to overflow into the other trays because it makes it harder to get them out, but sometimes it leaks. This is a project that takes about 10 minutes and my future self will be so happy in the winter when I get fresh basil in a beautiful sauce. It's just really nice to flavor meals too, like just adds an extra, almost gives you just that fresh basil taste. Well, it does give that fresh basil taste, not almost. When frozen in this form, this basil really retains a lot of its fresh flavor, which is really nice. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna get a cookie tray out. These can dry flat in the freezer. Just kind of go around and just squish them down a little bit to make sure that all the basil's kind of in there, and then if I need to top any of them up, I'll come and top them up with a little bit of oil. Like this one's a little low. There. Perfect. All done. We use quite a bit of oil in that, but that's okay. I bought this knowing that I was going to be doing that project with it. Like I said, I got these ones for $10 at Sam's Club, which has been pretty much the best price that I can find. Azure, it's pretty expensive right now. Anyways, so we'll get these in the freezer and then I'll let them freeze. I usually leave them in there for at least 3 hours, and then once they are done freezing, I'll just pop them out, put them in a Ziploc baggie, and then use them as I need them. So the next thing up is we need to get this into my greenhouse so that that can get drying, so that I can have some dried basil in the winter time. But I'm gonna take them all off the stems first before I put them in there. That way, when I'm taking them out of there, I don't have to de-stem them. They're already de-stemmed. So let me get that done and then we'll head outside. I went out to put my basil in the freezer and I realized I had my smoked pork bellies in there that I have to get vacuum sealed. I've done a video before showing you guys how I make our bacon. I prefer to buy pork bellies from our local butcher and do it myself. That way I can control the saltiness and I can control the flavor. So these are just some pork bellies that I cured for 7 days. I will leave the video linked for you guys showing you how I cure my pork bellies, but it's a maple cure and it's so delicious. So Steven smoked these yesterday, so I'm just gonna get them put into a vacuum sealer bag because we do not have a slicer right now. Our slicer broke, so we don't need bacon this minute. So I'm just gonna put them in these baggies until we can find a slicer on Marketplace or find a really good deal on one, and then we'll get it and then I'll slice these up. Or if we need bacon before that, I'll obviously make do, figure it out. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get that vacuum sealed and then we're gonna head out and put the basil into the greenhouse. This is an Excalibur vacuum sealer that I'm using. I bought it years and years and years ago and I love it. It has been working really, really good for us. As long as you don't cut the bag too small, it's good. And then I just end up buying my bags on Amazon. I can leave my favorite vacuum sealer bags linked for you guys. These are just food saver because they're bigger than my normal ones, but when we process our chickens, I get my vacuum sealer bags on Amazon, and I've been using this particular brand for 3 years and they work amazing. Amazing. So I'll leave them linked for you. So I don't really need to label this because I kind of know what this is. I'm gonna throw them in the freezer until we're ready to slice it, and then we will have fresh bacon. Okay, we are gonna get these in the freezer. I am bringing you guys out here because I wanna show you something fun. There's always something fun in our garage. We got our baby turkeys. I picked them up last week and they're already getting huge. I actually am gonna turn this light off. I'm gonna get these in the freezer first before I turn that light off. Our garage is sitting at 90 something right now, which is perfectly fine for the turkey. So I just shut that light off. We actually ended up losing a turkey. One turkey died last week because it got well over 100 in the garage without the heat lamp on because we were having that heat wave. Unfortunately, the little turkey couldn't take it and it died. So I'm really trying to watch this heat lamp. We had to turn it on last night for the first time since we've gotten them because it did dip down. I think last night's low was 70. So because it got a little bit cooler last night, I turned the heat lamp on for them, but now the garage is sitting, because we have an insulated garage in here, and it's sitting at like 90 something, and I have the fear of me that I'm gonna lose another turkey to heat. So I'm just kind of turning the light on and off when I need to. They're still only a week old, so they still do need to have like high temperature, at least 90. But yeah, they don't need 120. That's a little bit excessive. It's a little excessive for everyone. Okay, so I have our lettuce. I was gonna call it lettuce. I have our basil. We are just gonna quickly run into the greenhouse and go back into the house because I don't have my sunglasses on and it is warm out here. So those are a broad-breasted white turkey that we ordered from a McMurray. We also have our meat chickens out here. Those will be getting processed in 4 weeks. The turkeys, we are going to process them. I think I figured it out from when we ordered them, like when we got them. I think it's going to be the 1st or 2nd week of November that we'll end up processing those turkeys. So right in time for Thanksgiving, which is perfect. well over 120 in here. I need to get a shade cloth on here. So this is the thing that I purchased on Amazon. It just has a little clip like this, and I just hang it on a little nail here. And then it has all of these little compartments in here. So right now I have, what is this drying in here? Oh, this is some lemon basil that I have that I need to take out because it is done, but I don't have, put it in here. I have baskets all in here. I dried this lemon basil so that I can make some tea in the winter. I'm loving lemon basil tea. I gotta go and actually pick up a whole bunch more lemon basil because there's some that is ready. I want to keep getting it dried. So we have our regular basil, so I'm just gonna put them in here, and these will be dry within like 2 days. And I've already pre-washed these, so they're good. And just make a nice layer of them. And then I zip it up, and then the bugs don't get in. I actually need to get some dill harvested, but it's too late in the day now to do that. So tomorrow morning I will go out and harvest some dill, and then I will put it in the bottom one. Put some of these down here. There we go, all done. All right, let's go back inside. I can't breathe out here. Just noticed these chamomiles. I gotta come out and pick those because they are ready to get picked. Actually, I could probably do it right now. Normally, I like to pick my herbs in the morning, but I find with chamomile, it is perfectly fine to do this at this time of the day because they're open, and that's fine. Have some in the front too I have to get picked. This right here, hopefully you can see it as my hyssop. Can't wait until this starts to produce. Look at the size of this Rosa Sharon bush. I trimmed this back, like I cut off about half of it in the early spring, like end of winter, and it just came back. Like it is so beautiful. It's just huge. The camera doesn't even show how huge it is, but oh, I love it. That bush is the hummingbird's favorite bush. That is my kitchen window over there, and it just looks over the Rosa Sharon bush. I love it. So when I'm standing there doing dishes or getting supper ready, I can watch the hummingbirds, and it's just, that's my favorite bush pretty much out of the whole property. But yeah, it is hot out here. Okay, so that is gonna be it for today's video. I am gonna have some lunch and sit down and relax. That weeding this morning kind of wiped me out. It was a little bit more work than I had anticipated doing this morning, but I'm glad that it's done. That project is off my to-do list, which is great. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.